So I did a video recently where I showed you how much money it cost me to own my Tesla Model Y as opposed to leasing it. And it was significant. I mean, that car's 18 months old now, around about that. And I basically would have already been better off had I leased it for 3 years as opposed to owning it for, say, 3 years, because already it's lost as much money as it would have cost me to lease it for 3 years. I knew that going into it. I actually did quite a big tax write-off with it. It's a business asset anyway. And if I knew what I knew now, what I knew then, I'd do it all exactly the same again, because I couldn't lease at the time. Nobody would give me a lease because my business was too new and it had to go through the business. Anyway, that aside, it also opened me up to the Tesla referral system. Now, the Tesla referral system was points based, and you could basically get Tesla points. And one of the first referrals I got, I used points to give myself free supercharging for a year in that car, which was probably a bit daft because I hardly ever supercharge it. Got charger at home, and I try to do that as much as possible. And when I do supercharge, it's usually for like 5 minutes because they charge really quickly, and you only ever publicly charge. And when you've got a charger at home, you want to publicly charge as few times as possible for as short a time as possible. You just want enough to get you home because that's where it's cheap. But anyway, I did that. I did a year's worth of the premium connectivity, and that was about it. Then they opened up their referral platform to actually give you Tesla credit in the form of pound notes. And that could be used for things like buying merchandise, for a wall box to stick on your wall at home, for a cyber quad even was on the list at one point. All that kind of stuff. You can also use it for servicing and things like if you want some new alloy wheels, tyres, all that kind of stuff. But I amassed quite a lot of credit. Now you can only use that code for 10 transactions, but each time a new sort of offer comes out, each time they change it, you can use it for 10 again. Well, one of the other things it says you can do with that credit is buy a new car, buy a new Tesla. So you can't use it on a used, like an approved used Tesla. You can't use it on perhaps something that's been pre-registered, but you can, it appears, use it to buy a new Tesla. Well, I went onto the website and had a look at the leasing numbers, and I had a significant amount of credit. I had 11 grand of credit, if you can believe that. And I stuck that in as a deposit, and I was just amazed by the number that came up in front of me. Now, I think when I initially looked, I only had like 10.5 grand, and it was going to be 46 quid a month for a 2-year lease. And I just thought, this is unbelievable. Like, this is outstanding. Surely they won't let me do it. Anyway, I tried to do it, and there was nowhere where it kind of said use your credits. So I contacted Tesla, had a couple of really helpful people I spoke to there, and they sort of said, look, we don't think you can do it in the UK. And I said, well, it says I can on the app, and I've got the credit, so what's the problem? And I sort of said, well, I've only got the credit because however many hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of cars have been sold using my link. And the guy was like, that's an amazingly good point. He said, what you need to do is put an order in. You have to pay 200 quid deposit to kind of place the order, and that will give you an order number. And he said, give me that order number, and I'm going to put a case forward to head office in the US to see if indeed you can use your Tesla credit against the deposit on that car. So about a week passed and I didn't hear anything, so I chased up, and someone came back and said they've confirmed it will work, but you have to go through every part of the process, and when it asks you for your final payment, it should pop up and ask if you want to use your credits. And sure enough, it asked me for 11 grand, pops up and says, would you like to use your Tesla credit to pay for this? I click yes, and it's done. 2 days later, I picked up the car from Southampton docks, 25 plate Model 3 with like 3 miles on the clock, charged up to 97% when I collected it, which was great. And The monthly payment on this is £10.16 a month. That's a 2-year lease on 10,000 miles a year. Now, if I'd have gone to a 3-year lease, it would have been 90 quid a month. And in 2 years' time, I'm going to smash myself around the head and say, why on earth didn't you do a 3-year lease? Actually, I only want the car for 2 years because I don't know what my position's going to be in 2 years. It also needs to be a car for me to generate content with, and after 2 years everyone's going to be bored of this thing if I make loads and loads of content, and there might be the next best thing out, or I might decide I want to get some weird old classic car or whatever it is. 2-year lease just suits me down to the ground at the moment. And I also couldn't keep it in my head, it would be the £10 Tesla, and I thought that thumbnail will get so many utter jumping into the comments and saying they can't give them away, and I wouldn't give you 10p for one, and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, love it, I'll have a bit of that. And I just love the story. I love the fact I've got a brand new car here for 10 quid a month. To put that into context, that's almost half the price of my Netflix subscription. The premium connectivity thing, so I can use my Apple Podcasts and get satellite imagery and live traffic and stuff on the maps, costs £9.99 a month. So the car is costing me 17p a month and more than the premium connectivity. And that just fries my tiny mind. I honestly can't believe this, and it would not have been possible without people clicking on my link and helping to make this happen. And this really does support the channel, like, in as good a way as anything probably any of you have ever done before. Obviously it gets all of you a few quid off a car as well, and it has helped a few of you get a few quid off a car already. But it means I've now got a car that I can sell and put that money back into my business, and it means I can reinvest that so I can perhaps get some more equipment. I'm hoping to do 3 car shows this year. I'm hoping to do Munich in September, SEMA at the start of November, and SEMA is my absolute bucket list car show. If I can go to that, I'm going to do a cartwheel. I cannot believe I possibly might be able to go to that. If you don't know what that is, it's a huge thing in Las Vegas, and it's all kind of the aftermarket industry in the motor industry. There's loads of modified Tesla stuff actually, and I'm really interested to find out more about modified Teslas. But also there's all the big V8 monsters. You have big sort of builders of note that build their SEMA car. I mean, from the American TV stuff, like Chip Foose is always there. Gas Monkey will always be there. All those kind of things. Cannot wait to get into that. And then hopefully I'll do the LA Auto Show again at the end of November. That's the one that's like a maybe, maybe not at the moment. If I can do SEMA, I don't know if I'll also be able to do that. But all that's going straight back into the channel. That Say It Me will be turned into channel credit, if you like. And every part of that will be spent on making new, interesting content. And hopefully some of you guys that have used that link, you haven't done it for that reason, you've done it to save yourself a few quid on a car. But I hope you'll see that by doing that, you've helped me produce more content. Because this year, I probably would have just been able to go to Munich. Depending on sponsors and stuff, I still need to get sponsors on those videos because it's so expensive to do all the travel and stuff. So I still need to get some sponsors. But without something to top that up, there's no way I'd be able to do it this year. Just no way at all. So thank you very, very much for using that link to order your new Tesla. As for the car itself, I'll do a full review video on this car at some point. But I love it. It's great. It's such a good chassis. It feels like a marked improvement from the previous Model 3, in my personal opinion. It definitely feels like an improvement over the Model Y. It's not quite as harsh over bumps, and it feels perhaps a little bit more stable on the road. It's just a really lovely car to drive. Like, really lovely. It's really quiet as well. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say about an electric car, but not all electric cars are that quiet. They're not always that well soundproofed. Probably some manufacturers don't think they need to do quite so much because there's no engine noise, but you still get lots of tyre rumble, wind noise, all that kind of stuff, and sometimes you hear that more because you don't have the engine noise there as the white noise to cancel it out, I think. Anyway, it's not the case in this one. Anyway, I don't want to give it all away now. I want to spend a bit more time with this car and get used to all its foibles, and then I'll put a full review video out. I've got a couple of videos lined up for this already. I've got some aftermarket car mats going in here, which are a big deal for me. I hate like mucky carpets, and because I've got a couple of young kids and a dog and stuff, it just gets very, very grotty in our cars. And I want to keep this one in pristine condition really, and have the other one as the car that we abuse a little bit, but still I want to put some nicer car mats in here. And then the other one I'll be doing is one that absolutely all of you I suggest do, especially if you've got one on a lease, which is have a look at the wheel trims and get them replaced, because the Tesla ones don't protect the rim of the wheel and the aftermarket ones cover the rim of the wheel, the ones I'm looking at anyway. So a couple of videos coming up there that if you're interested in Tesla in any way, may be of interest to you. And then there'll be loads of content coming with this car in the next couple of years. I've got no doubt about that. And it's something that I'm just going to really enjoy driving, because it is a lovely thing to drive. If you haven't driven one yet and you're open to getting one despite what's going on in the world, go and test drive one. There are lots of people that poo-poo them because it's all a bit new and a bit different, that get into one even as a passenger and ask me that golden question, which is, how much is one of these then? And that's when you know that someone's got a real interest, when they ask you the price. As for Tesla themselves, I don't think Elon's going to be there too much longer. I think if the share price keeps taking a dip, I think the other shareholders will get rid of him. I mean, some of the companies that have got massive shareholdings in Tesla are huge, like big hitters. Warren Buffett's lot have got a decent investment in Tesla. Vanguard, there are some massive investment groups in Tesla. And if the price just keeps going down and it's because of silly things that the CEO's doing, the CEO will be removed by the board. Thanks for watching this video, folks, and thanks again for making this possible. For the ones of you that did make this possible, please give the video a thumbs up, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.